Right, today we're going to be talking about interest in the packs, and I thought I'd better touch upon what interest actually is, as some of you may not have heard very much about it, or only a little bit. Okay, so you're probably most likely to hear about interest in terms of banks and things like that. Let's say you go along to the bank with your money, and if you're anything like me, that'll be a lot of money, and you want to pay your money into the bank. What you might think happens to your money is that you pay it into the bank and somebody takes it away and puts it in a big cage or a vault and it joins everyone else's money, or maybe there's a special one just for your money if you're super rich. But actually that's not what happens, I'm afraid. What really happens to your money is that the bank give it to somebody else, which may sound quite shocking, but who are these people who are taking your money? Well, they are people who have gone to the bank looking for things like loans, mortgages, stuff like that. Okay, so most banks nowadays don't actually have an awful lot of money within their walls. They lend that money out to other people who need it. So why is that good for you? Well, the next time you go to get your money out of the bank, they might give you a little bit extra. Okay. And we call that difference interest. You've earned a bit of interest on your money. Okay, so that's good. You might be thinking, okay, great, I will just put a bit of money in the bank and just leave it forever and it will earn me lots and lots of money. Unfortunately, the interest is quite low on money that you put into the bank, and you won't earn that much on it, but it's still good to get more than you put in. So how can a bank actually afford to do this? Well, the people who borrowed your money actually don't have to pay back the same amount, they have to pay back a little bit more. And the interest they pay on borrowed money is more than the interest you receive on saved money. And that's actually how banks make their money mostly. Okay, so let's take an example here, because we're going to talk about two different types of interest today. We're going to talk about simple interest and compound interest. Compound interest you will do more on in future years. Let's say that myself and Miss Atke go to a bank and invest our £100 and the interest rate is 10%, which would be an exceptionally high interest rate, by the way. So 10% of £100 is £10. Okay, so with simple interest, after year one, I'm going to get my £10 interest, my 10% interest, and add it to my original amount, and I've now got £110. After year two, I'm going to get another £10 because that's what 10% of 100 was, and I'm going to add that to my year one total, and I've now got £120. And you can see where this is going to go. I'm going to keep getting £10 each year, so after 4 years I've got £140. So the interest I was receiving was always 10% of my original amount. With Miss Atke, who's invested in a bank which is paying compound interest, she will, after year one, achieve the same amount that I had. She will gain 10% of 100, which is £110. The difference with compound interest is that 10% is no longer calculated just on the original amount, it's calculated every year. Okay, so it's 10% of this new total. And remember, to increase something by 10%, we could just times it by 1.1. So after year two, she's actually earned £11 interest, because 10% of this is 11, rather than the £10 that I earned. So she's actually now got £121. After year three, we started year three with £121. That got increased by 10%, and now at the end of year three, she's got £133.10. And then we start with that at year four, increase that by 10%, and she's now got £146.41. So you can see that with compound interest we earn a little bit more money on our savings, and that difference increases the longer that you leave the money in the bank. So we'll come to this in future years. There are quicker ways to calculate the final amount for each as well. I won't go into this one, but for simple interest, what I could have done if I'd have known the amount of years that I was going to leave it in the bank for is that I could have just times by the interest rate, 0.1, to find out what 10% is, and then times by the number of years. So I was getting 10% for 4 years, so that times 4, 0.1 times 4 would be 0.4, or it's the same as earning 40% in other words. Okay, so 100 times 0.4 would have given me £40 interest And I could have skipped straight to the end there and said that I was going to earn £140. So that's what we're going to do today in the pack.